Well, good afternoon, Smith Memorial family. I am so excited to be with all of you today as we have an opportunity to get to know and to welcome Daniel Guenther to the Smith Memorial family. Daniel, we're so excited to have you coming on board with here.
Thank you, Cameron, and to all of you watching. It's really great to think about what the future might have in store for us, to think about the things that God is going to do and keep doing at Smith Memorial, and the things that I'll be able to be a part of and that you all will be able to be a part of with me. I'm really looking forward to that and to getting to know all of you.
Awesome. One of the imagery that I like when we think through this time of transition is that of a relay race. Paul utilizes the imagery of a race all the time. And I like the idea of, when the Olympics, if COVID-19 wasn't happening, we actually had the Olympics this year. We would see this all the time with the 4x100s and the 4x400s is everyone has their opportunity to run their leg of the race. But the most crucial part of running the race in a team race is the passing of the baton. And, I look at our transition in a lot that way is that all of us are in the same race together. And the most crucial part is the passing of the baton to keep going and to keep persevering through this journey that we're on. So today we have an opportunity to get to know you a little bit. And I have been Facebook stalking you. And some of my church members may have as well. But there are some things that I've learned about you from your Facebook profile that I want to share with the congregation. And if any of these are incorrect, then your Facebook is incorrect first. But if you want to add anything to it or to tell us more about it, feel free to jump in.
Sure.
But these are some of the fascinating findings that I found from your Facebook. One is you're from Arlington, Virginia. Is this true?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So were you born, raised all the way up through until you left college?
So I was actually, technically I was born in Alexandria. I was born in a hospital in Alexandria, but I lived in the same house growing up all the way through high school. Left home when I was 18, which was 2011. That's going to make a lot of people notice that I'm a little younger than some. But I left home for college, went to Davidson, North Carolina, and studied there at Davidson College for 4 years and did my master's at Emory University in Atlanta.
So I got you on this, see?
You did, yeah.
Studied history at Davidson College. Go Steph Curry.
Walked past him in the hallway once. It was a surreal experience.
I did that once when I was at Duke. I walked past Grant Hill.
Oh my, wow, yeah.
And, I should have taken a picture with him, but I was too shocked to do anything besides look awkwardly.
I was actually on the way to class, and part of what made it so surreal for me was that this was my freshman year. This was 2011, and I was the NBA was locked out, so he was taking classes on campus. And I was 12:20, and I was about 5 minutes late for my 12:15 class. So I was walking, over to the main academic building, and he walked past me, and I turned around, and he was gone. But I realized that I had walked past the great Steph Curry, and it was kind of a jaw-dropping moment. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you went to Davidson, and then you went to Candler School of Theology. So many of our folks may not be as familiar with Candler because it's not the immediate two that are closest to Virginia, Wesley to the north and Duke to the south. So where is Candler?
So Candler is within the city of Atlanta in North Georgia. I have a lot of friends who are in ministry in North Georgia, in the North Georgia Conference of the UMC, and also in the Alabama West Florida Conference of the UMC, but it's in Atlanta.
Okay. And then you spent some time in Atlanta doing some ministry. And one of the things that I saw was that you were a chaplain intern at a children's healthcare facility. Mm-hmm. What was that experience like?
It was, Cameron, it was one of the most transformational things that I've ever really been a part of, I think. You do the learning, you go to classes, you learn about the Old Testament, the New Testament, you get your theology down. And I'll never forget this. And then you walk into a patient room with someone who is in distress, and with a patient who's in distress, and their mother or their father looks at you and says, "We need you." And my first reaction was always, I can barely do my own laundry. That was what it always felt like when I would walk into the rooms. I mean, you need me, but after a while, after doing that enough, you kind of start to get a sense of, I'm able to be present here, and I'm able to be with you, sit with you, and just be that comforting hand, be that gentle presence in the midst of whatever you're going through. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because God's doing that through me. And God is present in this room through me. And I'm not doing this on my own. And I'm not being asked to come up with answers. I'm cooperating. I'm working with God, and God's working with me in this. And once I figured that out, I really think that was kind of a big turning point for me in terms of what it means to be in ministry and to do ministry. Reminding myself and sort of relearning that it's not about what I know, and it's not about how eloquent I can be. It's about what God can do through me in that moment. And do I have the intellect and the heart to cooperate with that?
Yeah, that's awesome. So after you did your chaplain intern, I noticed you had a youth ministry gig in there, but you've spent the last year as the associate pastor at Great Bridge. What's that experience been like for you?
It's been a really incredible learning experience for me. First of all, I haven't obviously done full-time ministry before. I went straight out of college. I graduated college in 2015. That fall, I was in seminary. And after that, basically everything I did was internships. And I kind of took the quantity approach to finding internships. I tried to be doing two or three different things a summer for the most part, so that I could kind of get different experiences and see different things. So it was a chance to really see what it looks like to be in a church year round, and to see how a church works on a day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year basis. And it taught me a lot, I think, about leadership, things that I had kind of known but hadn't really had a chance to explore before. Just learning the importance of not putting everything on your shoulders, but working with people, and remembering sort of to trust and to lead from a place of understanding that God is working through the people who are around you. Yeah. That God is working through this. And in our case, we had a pretty big staff. That God's working through the staff, that God's working through the lay leaders, the Sunday school teachers, the committee leads, all the different people who come together to make church happen. So for me, it was a really good chance for me to see the way that worked in real time, and to figure out what it would mean for me to be a leader in that. That's kind of been what the last year has been about. And I'm really proud of the ministry that we've been able to do together, because we've, especially I think in the last few months, accomplished a lot, and it's been incredible for me to be a part of. It's awesome. It's a good place, and it's been a good place for me to be.
That's awesome. I think I have one more thing on here. I want to know, like Jesus, what's it like to have a December birthday?
Honestly, it's pretty great. I'm far, because I'm kind of right on the edge. If I were a week later, or 2 weeks later, whatever, a couple days later, there'd be a temptation to get my birthday and Christmas lumped in together.
Yeah.
And if I were a few days earlier, in November, say, it wouldn't be quite the same. But as it stands, I have this really compressed period of excitement, where I can, I get my birthday on December the 2nd, and then 3 weeks later we're doing Christmas. And that's a 1-2 punch that's hard to beat right there.
That's for it. So my birthday's at the end of October. Mm-hmm. And the greatest thing about it is that it's always somewhere around between game 3 in Game 5 of the World Series.
Oh yeah, that's gotta be.
That's just my little thing. So we're going to play a little game together.
Sure.
For everyone that's watching, and it's called Explain That Photo. Okay, so I randomly went through your Facebook and I picked out photos that I thought needed some explaining.
Okay.
And we're going to look at it, and then I just want you to just go for it right off the bat. Explain the photo.
Sure.
All right, photo number 1. Your profile picture.
Oh, okay. Well, so I am a huge Star Wars fan. When I was a kid, I watched them so many times that I think I've said this to a lot of people. I think I could quote any line from the original 6 movies, the original trilogy, and then the prequel trilogy that was made actually when I was in elementary school. But I think if you started a sentence and you gave me some context clues, I could finish it. Any sentence.
So the major question, because Star Wars people are like pretty fanatic, is should you watch them in the order that they are released, or should you watch them in sequential order for a timeline?
I haven't come up with a clear answer on that. Because I've done it both ways. I think it's pretty clear when you watch them that they were made in the order that they were, if that makes sense. And not just because of the differences in the special effects, but you can see in the prequels that like certain things are emphasized because they're trying to set up, what's coming, or what's already in what for the viewers has already happened. So there's merit to watching them 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then just forget about this new stuff. I can't. But there's also merit in watching it. I've done it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and when you watch it in that order, you kind of do appreciate more the ways that the story has built up and fit together that way. So I could go either way. I really could.
Okay. All right. Photo number 2.
You really had to dig deep for that one, didn't you?
What's happening?
There's a lot. Go ahead.
I said, what's happening? Explain this photo.
There's a lot of things. So there's a lot of things that need to be unpacked in this. First, this was in my senior year in college, when I was in my beard and big hair phase. So it might as well have been the 80s because that's what I was going for. I was a history major, so it was not uncommon for me to be in the library, surrounded by books. And for my friends, in this case, this is my friend John on the left, to come up and acknowledge that. And when I get intense about something, I have a tendency to really dive in, and really, you sort of have those, those moments in movies when the character is kind of hunched over the computer and they're just clacking away on the keyboard, like,
yeah.
And they have that montage that's basically just different camera angles of the same.
Right.
Yeah. So like that's kind of what being in the library could be like for me at times. And so this is my buddy John trying to pull me out of whatever sleep deprived, mentally exhausted state I was in, and trying to wake me up essentially and get me kind of going again, and saying like, it's going to be all right, man. You don't have to worry so much. And I don't think I got any hugs that day, but I did get a few laughs. So, that was, we make do with what we can.
That's right.
You really had to dig for that one, didn't you?
I think you're gonna like this next one. I liked it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, geez. You really did dig. Wow. That's me in high school. That's an incredible search job. When I was a senior in high school, this was the first time in 4 years that I didn't have any sports to get ready for. I wasn't recruited. I played football in high school. It's 5'9", and a center. So it's 5'9" and slow. As an offensive lineman, football is what we're talking about. But No one really looks for guys who are 5'9" and can't run very fast to play college football. So I didn't really have anything to get ready for athletically. There wasn't a season coming up, and I had some friends who were in theater, and they said, "Hey, we think you might be a good fit for the production we've got coming up. We're putting on a show, and it's going to be Frankenstein. And well, you're kind of a big guy, and kind of loud. I was pretty loud at the time. You're kind of a big guy. You're kind of a loud guy. You have a certain presence about you. Why don't you try and be the monster?" And I said no, and they said just audition and see what happens. And I loved it. I did that, and so this, I believe, is me as Frankenstein's monster killing my creator on stage. And I think I killed 4 people in that production. It's the most people. I certainly don't ever aspire to kill more than 4 people. But yeah, I think that's what's going on there. Actually, I'll tell you this. So I've got a prosthetic on my head there, and a wig, and some stuff we had in the prop area. That all the black and white that you see there, that's real. That's makeup. And our makeup person actually won. I don't know the proper name, makeup director. She won an award, a statewide award for work that she did in essentially turning the entire production into black and white. So her name's Sonia. Kudos to Sonia for that.
Yeah, kudos. Yeah. All right, so you talked a little bit about your last this last photo, but being a center, I need to know what's going on here with so many defensive men. Where's it at? Here it is. They all seem to be coming at you here. What's going on?
I think on that play, I was on defense. Yeah, because the guys who are around me would not have been on the field had I not been on defense. They didn't play on our offensive side as much. So not great technique from a defensive line's perspective to be standing up so high. But I guess we're playing that's one of our cross-county rivals. I think we beat them 42-12, 41-12 that night. We beat them up pretty good. In spite of this one photo, played okay. Maybe the fact they were devoting so much attention to 3 people were attending to me was part of why they weren't very good, and we beat them by 30 points.
So I included this photo. Brandon Johnson he'll be able to study the footage off this photo. Brandon is a local high school football coach that attends Smith Memorial. Put this one in here for him. Do you like sports?
Yeah, I'm a big sports guy.
So at Smith we have a lot of our men participate every year in a fantasy football league. Okay, so you have the number 1 overall draft in the fantasy football team.
Okay.
Who are you taking?
Oh my, that's a toughie. Last season feels like a million years ago. I think I got to say Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes. I feel like he's
Patty Mahomes. Okay.
He's probably the best choice. I mean, got 2 years, over 30 touchdowns, and he's only played 2 years. I feel like he's as sure a thing to a safe bet as can be. And
yeah, sure.
I know that a few years ago, people have traditionally been into running backs, drafting them real high, but the way that everyone uses their running backs these days, it's not quite such a strength as it used to be. So.
Okay. So this next little section that we're going to be in is going to be you in the hot seat. These are some of the questions that we fielded from our church members.
Sure.
And these are our hot seat questions. So question number 1, describe your best or worst vacation. Pick one or the other.
That's a good question. I haven't been on vacation in a fairly long time. So when in some ways, this is kind of both. When I was a sophomore in high school, we went to Rome. My parents, my brother, and I, we flew to Rome. And it was a really, I mean, I've been a history guy for as long as I can remember. I've always been interested in it. And, there's so much history in that city. There's the Roman stuff, there's the medieval stuff, there's the more modern stuff, the Renaissance, everything in between. And, we took a train to Florence one day and kind of made a day trip of that. It just was so interesting. And of course the food is, I'm a big Italian food guy. The food is delicious, amazing. It's pretty cool too, when you can just go up to a vendor on the street and get homemade pizza. And that's what we did. We flew there via from Dulles Airport in Virginia to London via British Airways, and then we flew again via British Airways from London Heathrow to Rome. And our luggage got kind of left behind in transition, and so we had a few days of wearing whatever clothes we could. We found this random little store somewhere in the city, and we got some T-shirts and stuff like that. And we had to kind of make do.
You look super. Did you get the super touristy shirts like "I love Rome"?
No, not quite. Honestly, there were these they really were probably, in all honesty, they're probably meant to be worn as undershirts. They were of that kind of material. But that was all we had. So that was, we were like washing our clothes in the sink and stuff like that until finally British Airways got our clothes delivered to the hotel we were staying in. But we were kind of roughing it for a few days. And that summer, Rome was very hot and has all the pleasant aromas of a medieval European city. Mm-hmm. So that was a culture shock as well, coming from Arlington, Virginia, a suburb where everything is always very clean and very orderly. It was different, especially for me at 16. So that was kind of the difficulty of that. But we had a lot of fun, and it was a really, really good time as well. So,
cool. All right, next question.
Sure.
Do you like to cook? If your answer is yes, what's your favorite thing?
To cook or to eat?
You go whichever one you want to go with on now.
Sure. So I do like to cook. I've been told that I'm a good cook, but I'm very selective about what I cook for other people. My favorite thing to cook is fajitas. I would say I believe that I make very, very good fajitas. So I've gotten some compliments on those. My favorite food is pizza. I haven't figured out how to cook pizza yet, but it's kind of goal number 5 on the list, something like that.
All right, next question. Do you sing?
Oh, no, not at all. No, you don't want that. Yeah, if I'm singing in the choir, you're in trouble.
All right. If you were an animal, what animal would you choose to be and why?
I think a bear. Wait, what animal would I choose to be?
What animal would you choose to be?
So I've always wanted to fly. So maybe I could be an eagle or something like that.
Okay.
Just want to see what the world looks like from up there. What the air feels like up there. I think bears have always kind of described me pretty well because I'm a large person. And I'm not always very subtle. I tend to just really like people, and I kind of feel like bears, once you're in with a bear, they kind of feel that way too.
Gotcha. All right. What was your favorite childhood activity?
I was a big reader. I really liked reading, yeah.
Okay.
Anything I could get my hands on, I'd soak that up.
Is there one thing that stands out most about you that you read from being a child?
There's 2 come to mind. I read the Harry Potter series, all 7 of those books, and I read Brian Jacques Redwall, which is a series of books about essentially anthropomorphized animals living in a medieval-ish world. And I always enjoyed those a lot too. So
maybe it was like you as a bear or an eagle living in ancient Rome.
It was very easy to sort of put yourself in the story. Yeah.
All right. What's your go-to snack? You're starving. It's not yet dinner time. You're ready to snack. What are you going for?
Give me some peanut butter crackers.
Oh, okay.
Some of those, Toast Chi, I think is my go-to brand. I try to avoid them, putting them around here too much because if I eat one pack, I'm just liable to eat 8 as I am to stop right there. So, but yeah, give me some peanut butter crackers.
All right. We got 2 more questions for our interview.
Sure.
What scares you?
So there are 2 different ways I can answer this question. Spiders are the most terrifying thing in the world to me. I was a camp counselor, I was a camp counselor at an outdoors camp, so I have experience with taking care of them. But I'm terrified of them. In a more existential sense, I think what scares me is that I want to be able to help people. I really feel like I got into ministry because it felt to me like the best and purest way that I could help people. And so I'm afraid of not being able to do that, being in a situation where I can't help people, I think would be the best answer to that.
All right, we got one more question for you, and then we'll wrap up our interview together.
Sure.
And the question is simply this: what gives you the most hope?
Well, I think the short answer, and it's appropriate that I should say this, right? But the short answer is Jesus. Mm-hmm. I think the long answer is that I think that the story that Scripture tells of a God who creates and is then separated from creation by sin, a God who loves even when that love is not requited, not responded to, a God who loves enough to be present with us in the flesh, to be here with us and to experience everything that we experience, a God who, would die for us, even though we don't deserve it, even though I know I've demonstrated enough times in my own life my capacity to not deserve that love. And then a God who, in all of that, can and has conquered death. To me, that sort of tells me that no matter what bad thing I might be facing, and no matter what bad thing I might be trying to lead others in facing, no matter what challenge is in front of me, the universe is conspiring on my behalf. And the very nature of existence is love. If God creates everything and God loves us, then to be alive, to exist, is to be loved. And I think that's a pretty powerful response to any power or principality that, Paul uses that language, right? But any power, principality, any force in the world that would seek to say otherwise, would seek to say that you're not loved, that you're not valuable, that you don't deserve health and happiness and joy and peace. That gives me a lot of hope.
That's awesome. Well, Daniel, I want to thank you for having fun and being open to being stalked on Facebook and the questions of our congregation. To Smith Memorial, I know that you all are a loving congregation, and I can't wait for you all to have the opportunity to meet Daniel And I am pleased, Daniel, in a few weeks to be passing the baton to you. Thank you for spending time with me, and God bless you in your ministry.
Thank you, Cameron. I appreciate that. And to all of you watching, let me just say I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you and to being in ministry with each and every one of you.
Awesome. All right, Daniel, take it easy, bud.
All right, man. I'll see you later.